The pursuit of big game is a tradition as timeless as creation itself. This is the program that follows the progression of our hunting lifestyles from where we've been to where we are now and where we're going. This is the Marshfield Outdoors Podcast with Chad Heflin.
All right, we're here for another week of the Marshfield Outdoor Podcast, and I got a little different format, and I know I've been changing it quite a bit over the last year, but the Faithful Outdoorsman segment is going to follow this. This week, I have a co-host, Brady, who's my brother, is going to be on with me, so stick around for the next episode, which is going to be out just behind this one. It's going to be really neat. I'm introducing Brady to everybody that listens, and we're going over his testimony. It's kind of a part one of a two-part series of just how, us growing up and how hunting, has kind of come back into his life now that he's back home with his wife and two kids. But he's got an awesome testimony. He's one of, even though he's my little brother, I look up to him a lot because of just how his path of faith has kind of taken him and where it's at now, and just how strong he's grown. And he's got a plethora of information and insight on the Bible and stuff. So I really think it's going to help going forward with the Faithful Outdoorsman segment. But tonight, I got somebody else on the other side of the screen, Cole Cannon with Buckventures. How are you, Cole?
I'm good, man. Glad to be here and talk hunting and whatever else might be. The God, God, whoever, whatever it is, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And Cole, we've kind of touched base probably ever since the beginning of hunting season. I was, wanted to get Jeff on and stuff like that and talk. And I actually had the guys from Anabolic Grow on back there about probably bow season, so probably October-ish. Had them on, and what a great product that is that I know y'all started, having on the show and promoting as well. So I'm looking forward to spring coming around. We're getting ready to maybe fall season clover and maybe using that product again, or definitely going to use that product again this spring. So that's kind of how I first kind of contacted you, Cole, just through that. And, I know with deer season and the way y'all hunt, it's tough to get any time to talk to anybody.
Yeah,
so.
gosh. Yeah, I know you were trying to get Jeff on, and I'd tell Jeff, yeah, let's set it up. And then, you get to hunting and things, time just gets lost pretty much. And
yeah,
we'll get him on.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. But, I think I'm sure you can go. I think I saw you on a podcast last week. We can go into your big bucky kill because I think that really overshadowed the season because what a giant that was, and I'm sure has an awesome story with it. But Cole, the other thing I think we talked about earlier that I really truly enjoy about Buckventures and what draws me to y'all's show is just how openly about you are about your faith and giving back and helping others. I see different videos with disabled children or adults or anybody that really needs help or just needs that maybe that little spark in them that you all can provide through the hunting and outdoor industry, and also making sure you're spreading the word of the Almighty as well at the same time, which sometimes it's tough to find that. And I appreciate it. I'm sure obviously what's this season 2021?
Yeah, this is the 20th anniversary this year. So
yeah, God's definitely
been
blessed
going
you.
a while. Oh yeah. Gosh, yeah. And I've been here for 5 of it. So yeah, I haven't even been here for barely a third of everything that's going on.
Right. Well, we're gonna get into that, Cole, but why don't we just go into talking about who you are and your background, and like you said, 5 years you've been here at Buckventures, and we'll roll into that. But I enjoy hearing everybody's almost hunting lifestyle testimony, if that's what you want to call it, kind of that spark that sets you off with hunting. And we can go into some other things as we go along, but just start there, Cole.
Yeah, so I'm from Texas. I'm a Texan. I live in Oklahoma now, which I never thought I would, just because we're rivals. But I am a Texan. Just from the start, my dad was real great about introducing me, to the outdoors and sports and Jesus, and all the things that were very important to him growing up. And then, as far as hunting goes, I started hunting. I think I shot my first deer when I was 4. Just in the outdoors as much as possible, just loved it. That love stayed there, but as I got older, sports kind of took over. in my life during the time. Started playing sports like nonstop. So, if I got to go to the deer leash for a couple weekends a year, that was pretty good. Again, just loved it, but sports took precedent over it during that time. And then after high school, I decided not to continue playing sports, and I got to college where I had some free time, and that's when my love for the outdoors came back. I got to hunt quite a bit more, and that's really where my love for filming and videography and photography kind of took off, I guess you could say. From the time I was young, I loved to film stuff. My dad always filmed us whatever it was, just so we could go back and watch it, 20 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And, as I got into college, it really took off for me. And then somehow I landed here with Buckventures, got a hold of Jeff. I had to have an internship to graduate college. And I texted him and said, "Hey, I don't know if you do this, but I need an internship." And I said, "Is that something you do?" And he said, "Well, not really, but come on down, we'll figure it out." And still to this day, I'm not sure how I got my university to sign off on it. I don't know if they knew I was coming down here to hunt for a living. But we got it signed off, and they never told me to go home. So I've been here. Yeah, this is my 5th year, and again, just very thankful, very blessed to do what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I grew up, I was kind of telling you, my dad has a farm here in Remington. My mom remarried when I was in about 8th grade or so, and we moved down to Dinwiddie County, which is just north of North Carolina. But we've always had the property, which has been a blessing. God blessed me with that. But I always found myself in the woods. Baseball was a huge part of my life growing up, Cole, and like you said, as you progressed through middle school and high school and started kind of getting into the travel ball a whole lot, and then I wanted to play football, and hunting started taking a back seat. But, I always found myself not always committing 100% to sports. And, I think once high school was done and I didn't really get any offers to go to college or anything like that, I ended up going to a small private college down in Ferrum, Virginia, and it's in the mountains there. And I got down there to visit, and the only thing that I heard was the Ferrum police station will let you check in your hunting weapons, and you can leave them there and then check them out and go hunt the public land around there. I was like, well, talk me into it.
Yeah.
So I was able to go down there, and, I got a good group of guys that you kind of go into college and find, your new forever best friends or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And, we tooled around, and I got some permission on a Red Angus farm there. I helped them out a little bit, and they gave me some hunting permission, and I ended up shooting a real nice buck there, like my junior year. And, we had it hung up at the house off the side of the road there by the college, and everybody stopping in. So it was really neat going to that. I mean, I do miss baseball. I try to play old man softball now, but I usually end up pulling a hamstring or
pulling
something.
a hamstring, yeah. Tear your shoulder apart.
I think I've kind of just tacked it up, and now I just focus on hunting, like you said. And I know a few people probably heard this already, but just telling Cole, since we're kind of just meeting tonight, my background now is I do stream and wetland restoration. I oversee stream and wetland restoration projects, mostly urban areas, because we're right here below DC, and a lot of stormwater infrastructure and stuff that's older needs attention to, and then where it dumps into the creeks. And then the Chesapeake Bay obviously is a really big factor here on the East Coast, right here where we're at. The James River, Potomac, Rappahannock, all that runs to the bay there. So it's a really neat job. I enjoy it.
Don't want y'all to miss out on this exclusive Hat Club deal. 20% off each month, $26 is the price, and you can get a hat just like this or this one and many more that we're coming out with that's going to be exclusive to our Hat Club. Click that link below and join our exclusive Hat Club. You don't want to miss out.
At Marshfield Outdoors. Marshfield comes from my dad's farm name here in Remington, Marshfield Farms, and I started Marshfield Outdoors 2021, I guess it was. Yeah. 2021. And, really it was just like you were saying, I enjoy filming it because I can look back on stuff, and I enjoy trying to play around with the editing, and, I'm not any great, great at it.
Yeah.
But, you can stitch things together and make something that you enjoy looking back on. Like, Morgan and I just went to Texas last March and did an axis deer hunt. And, she helped film and, all that, and we got to put it together. But really, we kind of documented the whole trip and stuff. And it just, you can go back and look at it. And like you said with your dad, it's really neat being able to share that memory and relive it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, for sure.
What's that?
I said, yeah, for sure. It's
Yeah.
it's always nice to go back and 20 years down the road, look at something and, smile and laugh and probably make fun of yourself because the way you looked or talked or what, whatever it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, she was doing that when she was on the camera a little bit right off the bat. She cannot stand getting in front of the camera, doesn't want any part of it. I said, that's fine. Now I get to shoot all the time. Then.
Yeah. I'll hunt first. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, Cole, did you start taking classes for videography? Was it something that you started learning in school and went to school for? Or let's go down that path a little bit, how that developed, because I think a lot of people now, especially with YouTube, blowing up like it is, and kind of, more inexpensive equipment, a lot of people are going to self-filming or, filming with buddies and stuff because it is enjoyable. So let's go down that route a little bit.
Yeah. So I went to Texas A&M. That's where I went to college. And now my major started out, I was going to do physical therapy. Started taking some science classes, and I was like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me. So I switched to sport management. I had some connections with like the Cowboys and the Rangers, kind of the local, major league teams there. And so that was kind of, what I was going to do. But like I said, when I got into college, my love for filming and editing, that kind of stuff kind of took off. And yeah, YouTube, I was on YouTube as much as I could be, watching people who knew what they were doing, just learning how to film, how to edit. I wasn't very good. I was a lot better filmer than I was editor.
Right.
Yeah, it took me a little while to learn how to edit.
Too many buttons for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of buttons, but it took me a while to learn how to edit in a way that I could go back and watch it and enjoy it.
Right.
Maybe other people think it's great, other people think it's terrible, but I finally got to where I was like, I can live with this. So yeah, pretty much 100% self-taught, other than, YouTube helped me a lot, learned a lot off there. And then when I got here to Buckventures, straight out of college, I learned that I still had a long way to go when you start, having to do it for TV or whatever it is. So, once I got here, I watched even more YouTube videos and more tutorials and this and that. And again, I don't think I'm very good, but I know a little bit compared to when I first started, I guess.
Well, Jeff must think highly of you because he's still around.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know if his
or he just likes your company.
Too high. Yeah, maybe that too. I like to talk deer, and he likes to talk deer, so we get along pretty good.
No, that's awesome. Well, Jeff, it seems like I said, kind of on the faith-based side of things, he really is, upfront, open about his faith. I mean, obviously from your slogan, all the way to your logo. Is that something instilled in you pretty strongly as a young kid, or, can you talk about that a little bit? I know a lot of us growing up, and especially going to college, sometimes we end up swaying away from, some of the structure that we learned growing up and getting out on our own. But, luckily we have great parents, or luckily we have some type of structure or something that kind of helps bring us back. So can you talk about that a little bit where,
Yeah,
for
sure. Yeah. So I was raised in a great Christian home. I was fortunate in that sense. My grandparents were very strong Christians. Their parents were very strong Christians. So yeah, from when I was born till, they sent me off for college, God was first and foremost in our house. And, when I got into college, I always remembered that. And I'm thankful that my parents instilled that in me. And again, it's not up to my parents whether or not I'm a believer. They can do all that they can. But man, going through this world without Christ, especially now, you just look around. It's I don't know how people do it, really. And there's a lot of lost people out there. And that's not my opinion. That's the Bible tells us there's a lot of lost people. So, from a young age, God was first and foremost. Everything, sports and hunting and all that took a back seat to it. Now, not that I always uh, kept my priorities straight. It was, still this day I screw up quite a bit. But I am a believer. I'm thankful to have the gift of salvation. And yeah, I don't know how people can manage to live in this very broken
No,
world
I can't either.
without that hope.
Yeah, I can't either. And that's why, like you said, I mean, I was brought up in a very, loving Christian home, and there's things that, looking back on, maybe they could have been different, but everybody kind of goes through their own journey, right? And then all of a sudden it's passed the torch off when you kind of break the nest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the structure was there, sometimes going back, I think, and I'm just thankful that God's given me grace because, not that I was ever a bad kid or whatnot. I was, a sinner, right?
Yeah.
And, it's just, I guess, now having 2 kids, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. And that's why I started the Faithful Outdoorsman segment, because, we can talk hunting all day, but if I can help, somebody, kind of reignite that, faith in them from when they were young or something like that, just through a story I tell or somebody have on, I think that's, your existence, right? Seek Your Existence was last
Mm-hmm.
year's or last season's thing. But I'm so thankful, my wife is a huge part in me wanting to grow stronger and stronger in my faith. I mean, and then my kids, I have two little girls. So it always seems like it's always something that may bring you back stronger or more. And, when you're thinking about having kids growing up now, of course I want to teach them to hunt. Of course I want to, take them to the farm and, give them a life that I had when I was growing up and stuff. But the one thing I was like is, if I can be an example and set an example now for what they, want their husband to be like one day, because how I treat their mother, want them to be, how a good Christian man can be a leader in his household and with his job, and just an example. Not sitting here pointing fingers or judging or chastising somebody, but just be an example and show love. Well, that, hopefully that gives them the structure to take on this crazy world when they get to leave in the nest,
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you can hope for.
Yep.
And that's faith, right?
Yep.
Shoot by sight, walk by faith, right? Isn't that
Yep.
what-
Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing I had. So I had really good, when I got to college, I had really good friends that were believers. And, I know because, still in college, I made mistakes. I've done things I probably shouldn't have done and thought things I probably shouldn't have done. But again, I had friends who went to church and, tried to live as, pleasing to the Lord as they can. We all fail, but especially when people get out on their own, you see it all the time. A good kid in high school leaves home and goes, and he's got freedom to do what he wants, and then next thing you know, he's on the wrong path because he's fell in with the wrong crowd. So
World
again,
something.
I'm thankful. I had good friends and good family holding me accountable. And again, I'm not perfect. I fail every single day. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, how does that translate over to your work life now? I mean, I think it's pretty neat that a lot of places in this country, I mean, you can't openly express, everybody has freedom of religion, but almost like if you're a Christian,
Yeah,
you
but
got to
not
kind of
really.
take a back seat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah,
how is that?
It's again, I'm very blessed that I have our platform that we use that Jeff has built up. And again, he says it's not him, it's all the Lord, which is true. But we love to hunt, we love the outdoors, but more importantly, we love the Lord and we want to share that with others. I mean, that's why Buckventures was created. And again, we get selfish along the way, and sometimes it can become about hunting, shooting big deer, this or that. But it's our mission and our goal to share the word of Christ. And Jeff says it all the time. He says, if this is gone tomorrow, if we lose every sponsor tomorrow and can't pay anybody and we're digging ditches, and we'll be okay. The Lord has us where He wants us, and for now we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to keep hunting. We're going to keep sharing the word of God, and if He wants it to end, He will. And if He wants it to keep going, we'll keep doing it. So yeah, just thankful to have a work in a place where Christ is first. I mean,
Mhm.
we got to do business and we got to hunt and this and that, but that's not, I mean, essentially it's not important to us. God's first. And again, we screw up, we get selfish at times and do this and that. But again, I'm thankful to have fallen into a company where, God's first, and
Yeah.
it's going to stay that way.
That's awesome, man. Well, that kind of takes me to my next thing, because I think you have a big part of it, which, just a little bit of digging and reading I've done and talking to you, but the Woodsman, Buckventure, the Woodsman, I think applications are open for that, but more than, being a part of Buckventures, or, it's almost like a community of faith-based men, or is open to women as well. I don't
hmm
know all the details, but can you go into that a little bit as well?
Yeah, so the Woodsman program, basically, it's the Buckventures pro staff. They had a pro staff back in the day, and then they just kind of shut it down. And then in 2018, that's actually how I got to know these guys. They opened it back up. I came to the meeting, met Jeff and them, and I got my internship a few months later for college. But the Woodsman, it's a group of guys, girls, kids, all over the country. I think now we got people in 37 states. We've got around 300 people now, and we're adding to it. Applications just opened up for it. And yeah, we're outdoorsmen. We love to hunt and fish, but more than that, we have a love for Christ. A shared love for Christ. And these people, again, I said there's 300 of us, but these are some of my best friends and will be for the rest of my life. These are just really just genuine, hardworking, God-fearing people that they literally hold you accountable. If you're out of place, they're not afraid to call you out and say, "Hey, you need to get right," which is awesome. And
Right.
I think we've got, I don't know the exact number, but probably at least 30 pastors on the staff. So if you need wisdom for something, or if you're struggling with something, they're always there to help. And one of them actually is the church I go to. He's a pastor. I mean, he loves to hunt. He doesn't get too much, but he's just a part of it because people, it's a group of people who love Christ. And yeah, it's been a blessing. Now it's a lot of hard work to manage it because you try to manage 300 people. And
Yeah.
again, Chancey, he works for us. He has to take the most of that load of work. But
Right.
yeah, it's growing. Jeff, he's not going to cap it off. If we got 1,000 people one day, we got 1,000. It's a family. I mean, really, it's a ministry. These people are
Yeah.
out representing Buckventures, and they know what we stand for. And we're just hoping that they represent us in a way that's correct, and for the most part, it is.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure, with that, it kind of goes back to, and this is just my opinion, so anybody listening or cold, don't take it too much, but you know, I hadn't gone to church, like actual church building, in probably quite a few years, and I need to. I want to get my girls back into a community and stuff, but you know, from moving from here into Dinwiddie and going to a church there, and then moving back here and kind of starting our own family, we definitely have some places where we need to grow, right, as a family and stuff, as Morgan and I. But I feel like when COVID kind of came around, it kind of shook things up. And I'm not saying it was obviously, we don't ever think bad things are God ordained, but some people I think get so stuck to a building that they almost sometimes forget what happens on the outside of it during the week, the rest of the week. And I think the biggest thing I get from it is community, and what I hear from you about Buckventures, the Woodsman group, it's the church. That is the church, the community, the people, just like, in the Bible talks about the people are the church, its bride. And so I think that's really neat that you all are doing that, because, some people, maybe at some point in time they had a bad situation at a church, at an actual church.
Mhm.
And this is a good way to kind of relight that desire for community and help fellowship and help hold people accountable, because I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking for in a church when we decide to actually join one is, good faith-based gospel preaching type community that will hold you accountable, be there for you. And, really it's about the purpose and about the actual content, right? And not about the rules or laws or, stuff like that. So I think that's really neat what y'all are doing. a lot of people may not know that about the Woodsman group or whatnot. So
Yeah, it's been it's been a blessing for sure. And again, we don't, when people join, hey, you don't have to be a Christian. I mean, there's no requirement that you've got to be a Christian and
right.
believe. But when you come to our meeting that we have in April, pretty much if you stay, you're going to have some sort of belief. If not, you're people. If they don't, they quit, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But again, going back to your deal, I just encourage you to, I mean, if you find a church if you can.
Yeah.
Find one that's, again, preaches truth. I would encourage you to be careful because there's a lot of preaching nowadays that's not coming from the Bible. But yeah, if you find a church that can, hold you accountable, have community, and God does want us to, His believers to come together and worship together. So again, I just encourage you.
Yeah.
If you find a good
Appreciate it.
church, join it, and
Yeah. My probably I think it was my probably my third episode of this new season was with Anders Blix. He's from here in Virginia, and man, he's got a great church, but it's about an hour and a half away from us, and he's actually going to I think work there full time here soon. But he's been a huge encouraging type person. I met him at the Virginia Outdoor Sportsman Show last year. We had a booth down there, just kind of get the word out about the podcast and meet people and have them on. And Anders actually does he's an official Buckmaster scorer, which was neat because I'd had the Virginia score. There's a Virginia scoring system, which all of our record book here in Virginia is based off that. Boone Crockett, Pope and Young, and then the Buckmasters, which I had never really heard of or looked into, but he's actually one of the official scorers here in Virginia. And so I had him on to go over that stuff. But he's a really great guy. Definitely encouraged me a lot, and I wish we could get to his church because it sounds amazing. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now. I've really been diving deep, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I used to be kind of embarrassed about it, but I'm really probably the last 5 months really diving into understanding, really just reading the Gospels over and over and over and understanding and building that relationship. Because growing up, you can hear the message, but do you really receive it?
Yeah.
So now I'm at the point where that's just kind of where I'm at, and if I get that foundation, I have something to kind of look at, base churches off or the preaching or the doctrine off of.
Yep.
So that's where we're at right now, and I really appreciate that, Cole, and hopefully,
sure.
hopefully things will continue to progress like they are. It's
Yeah,
going wonderful. The journey's great.
Yeah, well, just pray about it, and Lord will hopefully lead you where He wants you to be.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess the last thing I want to end with, because I do want to talk about it, even though I know you probably just had a whole podcast about giant deer. How did that happen? How did that go down? And what was the feeling like after, shooting that deer?
We wake up well before anyone or anything else. We have spent our time studying, researching, and planning. As one day, these are lessons that will be handed down to our kids and our grandkids. We believe in buying a tag, even if we know we may not harvest an animal, as it will go to protecting the future for our kids. Now, we have taken it a step further. With every bag of bear beans sold, 10% will go to protecting the environment and animal populations, so the traditions that were handed down to us will get passed down once again.
A deer this year in Kansas, he ended up scoring 177 and an eighth gross. I don't do nets. Nets are for fishing.
Yeah,
unless it's a state record or something, then we'll do the net. But 177 gross. But this was in Kansas. This was on one of Jeff's farms. What's funny is going into this year, he had the Woolly Grass farm and a farm we called the Caddyshack farm. Caddyshack farm had a 185-inch deer on it, and he was there every day. I mean, like 10 in the morning, 12 in the morning, we had pictures of him. And I think 2 days before season started, Jeff sold it. And everybody's like, we didn't
Like,
we
are
didn't know
you
what
kidding
was
me?
happening. Yeah, we didn't know what was happening, but he ended up 1031 in that money into a new farm about 2 miles down the road. And it was a farm that we knew would be good, but the previous owner had kind of had cows on it and eating it down to nothing. Just a lot of pressure. So going into when season started, we didn't know what to expect.
Everybody's like, stay
Basically,
away from that place this year.
yeah. Uh, so basically, season started. We had some good deer. I was hunting a big 8 point, probably 150-inch 8 point, which I'd be perfectly fine with a 158.
Yes.
So we're hunting, and for me, I get to hunt as well as Jeff's season is going in a sense. So if he's having a good season and shoot some deer, I get to hunt more because he can go home and relax. And this year, we started out slow. We didn't even, me and him didn't, or he didn't shoot a deer till November 6th. And we started hunting September 1st. So it was, pretty slow year. And then he finally got on a roll, and I got some time to hunt. And again, I had some deer to chase after, just couldn't close the deal. I had a lot of close encounters, deer within 55, 60 yards. And I probably could have released some arrows, but I just didn't feel comfortable,
Right.
making those shots and didn't want to screw something up. So, December 10th, I'll never forget. Me and Chancey, were out there. Chancey had a muzzleloader tag, and we were hunting. And it was the last day for him, and we got a cell phone pic, and it's this deer, and we're like, dude, that's a stud. And originally we thought it was actually another buck that we had on the woolly grass, like 2 miles down the road. But we got to look at him like, no, this is a totally new deer. Never seen him before. And so that was December 10th. Sorry, December 10th. And over the next week or so, we started getting consistent pictures of him. Not daylight, but he was at least on the farm using it. And December 16th, we had our office Christmas party, and it was one of those days where like, yeah, we need to be hunting. But cold front came through, high pressure. And I'm walking into the party and get a picture. It's like 4 p.m, and there he is, daylight. We're like, yeah, we need to cancel this party and leave, basically. But he daylighted that day, so I went up the next day. Me and Ty, he came to film me. Hunted the next day, didn't see him. Had a good hunt, saw like 20 different bucks, but not him. And then the next 2 days, the weather got hot. It was going to be, especially for December, it was like in the 60s and 70s, and just kind of not great, ideal hunting conditions.
Right.
So I liked it not to hunt because I'm a kind of a stickler on hunting when conditions are right. I don't want to hunt just to hunt and screw things up. So we waited. We didn't hunt Sunday or Monday, and then actually Monday. I'll say this is kind of important. Monday we didn't hunt that day, but that evening we were going to eat, and it was hot, windy, low pressure, just a terrible day to hunt. And got a picture like 4:15, and there he is, daylight. I'm like, yeah, you got to be kidding me. So, but the next day we had the cold front coming in the right wind. I thought, well, tomorrow he's definitely going to be on his feet if he's on his feet now. So I felt pretty good about that Tuesday. Get in early, and hadn't seen. It's kind of started slow. We got in, I don't know, maybe 1 o'clock, 1:30, and at about 3:50, 3:55, I spot a deer. It's another buck. A deer that's going to be a giant next year. And then I look to my left, and there he is. And they're coming, and they kind of swing around. It was Ty couldn't film too well. He had a bunch of trees and stuff to film through, and I'm looking at him the whole time. And then he finally makes his way through, and I shoot him at 32 yards, and I do not make, or I don't hit him where I'm aiming, and I hit him back and high. Originally thought I just gut shot him, and he's probably going to die. So I was kind of excited, kind of nervous, kind of scared because I thought he was going to
figure out what to
die.
do next.
Yeah, I knew he was going to die. I just didn't know. We're going to have to give this deer a good while before we go in and track. So, and I went and got the arrow, and the arrow was just like covered in blood. I mean, like didn't look like a gut shot at all.
Right.
And we went back and watched the footage, and if you watch the footage real slow, when it comes out the back side, it just blows something out. Like, I mean, there's blood everywhere, and I didn't know. So I think ultimately I ended up hitting like liver, or maybe even a part of that aortic artery back there. And we called the dog in anyway, just to be sure, we didn't want to screw anything up. Went in that next morning, and yeah, deer went 115 yards and was dead. And I'll tell you, I was so relieved because here I was, I had this chance, to hunt the biggest deer that we had on our Kansas farms. And I thought I screwed it up, but yeah, the good Lord blessed me. And I told Jeff he screwed up because he shot on November 6th. If he'd have just waited, he would have had a bigger deer to hunt. But hey, I'll take it. I'm very thankful for it. And yeah, biggest buck I've ever harvested. And
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was a good year. I shot 2 deer this year. I hadn't last 2 years. I don't think I shot one. So yeah, just blessed, and hopefully next
Jeff
year we
needs
again.
to start tagging out a little earlier so he had the rest of the season, longer season.
Boy, he's usually pretty good. Kansas, we kind of got it set up where he can kill early. It opens usually middle of September. So yeah, if he can but he keeps inviting people to Kansas for whatever reason. He's like, you need to come hunt my Kansas farms. Well, that pushes me lower on the totem pole, so I need him to quit inviting people. Right? I don't know.
Now, do you just go do you go film other people too? Like, is it all for the show or?
Yeah, it's all for the show. I go hunt. If I'm not hunting, I'm filming Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if I go hunt, I'll either. This year it was nice because I had somebody to film me. Every hunt. Sometimes I have to self film, which I can do, but it's not easy. Yeah, bow hunting, gosh, it's very difficult to do. So yeah, thankfully I had somebody to help me this fall.
Yeah, no, I've tried, over the last 2 years, 2 seasons now, I've tried, self filming because it's tough. I got some of my best friends that want to help out and this and that, and the podcast was actually an afterthought. Like I enjoy the filming and that side of it, and obviously. In my shoes, I have to kind of build up on equipment and stuff like that. And, but it's tough to get, other people to take time from their hunting, when you're doing it just for a YouTube page. And, for me, it's something that's really personal and important, and I need to, make it grow and this and that. But, self-filming, especially bow hunting, is it's almost near impossible for me. I just don't know how you all can get it done, or, anybody that gets it done. You really have to take the deer out of it for like those 30 seconds and put the camera.
Yeah, you're a filmer. You're a filmer before you're a hunter.
Yeah,
and it's cost a lot of people a lot of deer, I think.
Yeah. Well,
I used to be somewhat decent at it, because I had to do it all the time. But if I had to go do it now, I'd probably be in trouble because I don't know if I can pull it off. I'm just not used to it.
Yeah, I'm usually I get the bow drawn, and turkey season. Started bow hunting with for turkeys last 2 years, I guess, and had some great success with it. But last year was the first year I actually spring that I filmed. So I was, moving the blind every day. It's just tons of stuff to take. I usually hunt by myself unless my dad goes, but he's not into filming and all that. But luckily with, the first couple turkeys I killed, I got so amped up that I wanted to kill the turkeys. I didn't get much footage. Well, as you progress and get into it and used to it, I've started getting more footage of the turkeys and stuff. And not, I know I have time if they get to the decoys, and I can get a little bit of footage and draw back when they're fans to me. So I'm really excited about this year. Hopefully it goes just as well as last year did. And hopefully get some more footage. So we'll see.
Yeah. Self-filming, I'll tell you, if you're good at it, hey, more power to you, because it's we got a lot of guys on the woodsman on the woodsman that do it, and they like knocking out of the water, and I'm like, I don't know how y'all do that. It's so much work.
Well, I get to the point where I'm like, it's not my job yet. I don't know if it'll ever be my job. I don't know if I'm going to let it cost this deer.
Yeah. Is the footage more important than that deer?
Yeah.
Unfortunately for us, it is.
It is, right.
That's what we're paid to do. But it's I'm sure, or I know it's cost a lot of deer over the years.
Oh yeah. Well, cool. What's do y'all do a lot of turkey hunting too? I mean, I know y'all always see the deer and stuff, and
we do some. Deer's our main thing, and then we'll go out and hunt a little bit. It's not like we put a whole lot of effort to it. We'll just to get away, we'll go film a few turkey hunts, and usually we need some sponsor content, so it's just a good way to go get some content. And then again, I love it, but we're so busy. That's kind of, for me, that's production season and getting TV episodes ready, and we're working on farms, getting them ready for the fall. So again, we do some. In fact, I filmed Jaylee. She finished her Grand Slam a few years ago. We went and did all that.
Awesome.
So yeah, we've had a good time, but it's it's not number
And the
one
work
our
begins.
priority.
So now, I guess now starts all your editing and stuff from the footage from this past season.
Yeah. I actually started on the first episode today. We're in here. This is a studio where we've been shooting interviews and trying to come up with a cool intro for our 20th anniversary deal. So yeah,
Sure.
I've got a lot of work to do between now and summertime.
Yeah. Well, cool. Maybe we can have you on again. I'd love to kind of break down like the editing and the process, especially, if you ever have time, we can go through it, because it's tough to continue to be creative. I think like you build something one season, if I put myself in your shoes, and then now you got the big 20th year anniversry that you have to put together and like blow it out of the water. You're like, I don't know how to be different, in my mind,
Yeah.
So I think
we struggle with that, because I'm a person. We can shoot one season this way, but then the next year I want to change something a little bit. I don't want to just keep doing the same thing. And yeah, gosh, it's hard to come up with ideas that work and that people will like. And again, it's for me, I like to watch other people's stuff and get some inspiration, from theirs. That's really the way that I stay motivated to, keep doing it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, man, I appreciate you being on tonight, Cole. I'm looking forward to this coming out. It'll be out tomorrow morning. This episode, along with the Faithful Outdoorsman segment. So, Buckventures, you can find them on all the social media platforms. And then obviously YouTube, and then on the what channel is it on?
So Buckventures is now on Outdoor Channel.
Yeah.
We've been on Sportsman Channel, but we just moved to Outdoor Channel, so we're pretty pumped about.
You'd like to call Buckventures office?
No, I don't want to call him. Sorry,
Keep calling yourself.
Yeah, my Apple Watch going crazy. So we're on Outdoor Channel right now. It's Q1 and Q2, so we're on it Thursdays at I think 8:30 at night, and maybe 11. And then when our new season starts here at the end of June, 1st of July, we'll be running 5 times a week. So I don't have those air times, but we'll be Outdoor Channel. And then the Woodsman Show has been on my Outdoor TV. It's now going to Sportsman Channel. So that'll start into June, 1st of July too. So
Gotcha.
2 national shows, and then more my Outdoor TV. We're pretty excited.
Yeah, a lot of work.
A lot of work, but it's good work. And again,
Exciting.
we're just blessed to be in this opportunity, to be where we are as a company.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Cole, thank you. I appreciate it. Y'all check out Buckventures. I know you've been watching it. And if you haven't, visit them on the social media, look at them on Outdoor Channel, now the Sportsman Channel with the Woodsman. Continue following the Marshfield Outdoor Podcast. I appreciate y'all listening. Give us a rating, give us a like. We're going to have this up on the YouTube channel as well. And again, the next episode right after this is going to be the Faithful Outdoors segment with the first introduction of my brother Brady on there and his testimony. So appreciate it, and we'll see you in the woods.